It's so amazing to be here this night and to have the energy from this crowd. And I'm just incredibly grateful. My name is Carrie Moore, and I want to welcome you to this fantastic screening of Love Heals. I'm the sponsor for the screening, and I just really want to continue to shine a light on what a remarkable experience it is to work with Dana and Krisanna. And the icing on the cake is that you get to meet Bruce and you get to work a little bit with Bruce. So this has been fantastic. Nate here is my partner in crime, and he's going to be helping us manage the chat room. And just want to thank everyone here. For anyone who's watching this not live, just want to continue to remind you that we'll be sharing information through the course of the video, and really want to encourage sponsorship. Watch the screenings. Each time we watch a screening, we're adding to the social proof of this global movement that love heals. And it's such an interesting journey of getting to know Dana and Krisanna. And I think we all want to celebrate first their journey of healing, Dana's journey of courage, and Krisanna's commitment that they all had to create this film. And it's so incredible what they did, because it brought on board so many well-respected and loved leaders like Dr. Bruce Lipton. Now, I'll say that one time because everybody knows if you know Bruce, you only get to say that once, because once you get to meet him, he goes by Bruce. So for the rest of the night, we all get to call him Bruce. But Bruce is one of the many scientists, physicians, and practitioners that have been both in and behind this film. And they represent this scientific proof from an industry right now that we know is disrupting, and it is in the middle of great change. And what we're so incredibly pleased to be a part of here tonight in this Zoom room is proving that love heals. Now, I'm one of the converted, and I say that maybe in the last 10 years. Before that, I probably would have described myself as someone who took for granted their health and wellness. And it's often that when we're in that path, we then realize we have to make changes. My background, just as you guys get to know me a little bit here tonight, my background comes from financial services and fintech. And in the last 6 years, I've been running my own advisory practice. I love to work with people like Dana and Krisanna, and anytime I can be around a person like Bruce is fantastic. And what I love about it, and again, I want to continue to inspire any future corporate sponsor. We're looking for 4 corporate sponsors for this movie as it moves into PBS, and why it means so much to do this individually is that on this path of myself on health and wellness is how I got to meet them. In my background and what I do now, I love to work with founders who have dreams. They've got an idea, they've got a solution to a problem, and the solution to the problem requires a movement, a community to come around it. And I'm so glad to be one of the many lights that are around Dana and Krisanna and this film. And I just encourage you to follow my lead. 10 years ago, when I faced my own sort of intensity in a health practice, I began down that journey of healing. And what I'm so excited about in this ecosystem of what I believe we have here today and what we're building, it's a group of people who don't want to nurse diseases. We don't want to just hang out with the injuries, because the injuries impact all of us, whether you're someone that's had a health challenge, or if you love someone that is experiencing a health challenge. And that's one of the most beautiful aspects of this movie, when we think about being an ecosystem of believers who are bringing not only old, but new modalities of care into being, into reach, and to touch. And I'm so excited about that. And so what's really cool for me, and I'm going to encourage you to, again, follow my lead, my background of being involved in all of this tech and all these other things, I'm so excited about what platforms what can technology do to reach the world just overnight because of the sponsorship and everyone sharing this movie screening with friends. We have people all over the world seeing this film, people from India reaching out to Dana and Krisanna this morning and saying, thank you. These are some things we're going to talk about. But it's just incredible what one effort, one movement towards putting a light on this topic really means. I'm just incredibly excited about that. So again, for those of you who know and have seen the movie, then you know who Dana and Krisanna are, and you absolutely know who Bruce is. But for the sake of you who haven't seen the movie, and for those who might see this recording, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on first our wonderful friend, Bruce. Bruce is a cell biologist. He's a lecturer. He is internationally recognized in bridging science and spirit. Bruce was a part of the faculty of the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine and later performed groundbreaking stem cell research at Stanford University. He is the best-selling author of The Biology of Belief, very much recommend. The Honeymoon Effect, very much recommend. We can all give thumbs up, right? Bruce, are you seeing all these thumbs up? A lot of fans. And then he also co-authored with Steve Behrman, Spontaneous Evolution. Bruce received the 2009 prestigious Goi Peace Award from Japan in honor of his scientific contribution to world harmony. Fantastic. Bruce, we love having you here. Now let's flip to our filmmakers. First, we'll start with Krisanna Sexton. She is the award-winning director of Love Heals, and she's been passionately producing film and video content since she was 16 years old. She knew what she wanted early. Isn't that great? She is the primary cinematographer for Love Heals, and she not only did that, she did all of the editing, all of the audio mastering, all of the color correction herself. She believes and lives the power of storytelling, and she pours her heart and her soul into every story she touched, and she has the privilege of sharing. We so appreciate you, Krisanna. And then to Dana. Dana, thank you, Dana. Dana Croschere, the award-winning producer of Love Heals, and she is featured as the main character in the film. We see her journey, which is so inspirational, so courageous, where she faces many obstacles, including 2 unsuccessful spine surgeries in 2020. Her pain body journey is actually over 4 years, and we get to see a portion of that. And while today she still experiences some chronic pain, Dana has been able to harness the power of the ancient mind-body practices that were facilitated in the movie to continue healing in her body, which has rippled out into every aspect of her life. And that's the exciting thing. We're a part of the ripple tonight. We are the ripple that's going out through this screening. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move into our first set of questions. And a little bit later on, guys, we're going to open it up to where we can ask questions from the audience. So Nate's going to manage that. So as you step in and start thinking and hearing things as we're talking, just put your name, put where you're from, because some of you might have the same name, and tell us what your question is. And Nate's going to manage that, and we'll open up to the audience in a few minutes. So back to Krisanna and Dana. What a journey. What a journey. How exciting. Your courage, your vulnerability. I'm just curious, how does it feel to be here in this moment? And Krisanna, we'll start with you. You were the talent with the camera. And so tell us what it feels like to be here right now inside of this Zoom room, but also as you have the news that you're heading to PBS.
I think it's mostly an out-of-body experience, to be honest. Yeah, I just never could have predicted that our story would turn into something that would not only be something that would impact the lives of those we were able to share healing space with in the film. But of course, now just this powerful ripple effect throughout the world. And interestingly, when we released the film, we were told by some, trusted consultants that this is like a marathon. And actually the second year is when it's really going to pick up. And we're just seeing that to be true. I was disappointed for a little bit there, but I think that's just part of the journey. So I feel incredibly grateful, and especially grateful to each and every soul that has decided to share some of this time and space together. And I just trust, and also to you, Carrie. I just am grateful for you facilitating this.
Oh, thank you so much. Dana, how does it feel? We're here.
Oh, amazing. If somebody had said to me a few years back that I was going to be in debilitating pain, have 2 spine surgeries that left me worse off than ever before, and yet that journey would turn into something inspiring that could help a lot of people, and I'd be sitting on Zoom with Bruce Lipton and other people from around the world to talk about this, I would have laughed. There were some really dark days. So if you can imagine feeling like, well, first of all, feeling like I was actually going to die in ICU and not come out of this entirely. And if I did, could I walk ever again and have a normal life? All the way to our film being seen by thousands of people and soon to be millions later this year as it gets broadcasted into the televisions and homes of countless humans. And so to know that my pain led me here is surreal and gives me a lot of hope for anyone and everyone, because I never thought that my journey would turn into what it is today. So I'm just living with an immense amount of gratitude for the people that are here to support us, and to even have this conversation feels like a dream.
Thank you so much. And Bruce, you've been on a long journey with this topic, and you probably have taken a few hits on what you believe to be true. And now we here today with a movie that validates so much what you stand for. Please share with us. How does it feel to be here?
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited because of the wonderful people online, actually, to tell you the truth, because this world is in such a state of chaos, and people think maybe things will just get better in the spring or something like that. It's like, no, we're facing an evolutionary upheaval at this moment, and there's chaos everywhere. And the idea about it is very important, is not to hold on to that chaos, because that's where the stresses come from. And stress is so important because, let's get to a fact, and that is less than 1% of disease is even connected to genes. 90% of disease, from including cardiac issues, diabetes is 100%, all kinds of issues that we're experiencing, up to 90% of all of it is stress. And as the world is going through all this stuff, if you hold on to that world and go, oh my God, it's falling apart, this is not going to help any of us. And it's not going to help you, because stress hormones shut off the immune system. So the more you watch the news, the more you get, oh my God, the place is crazy. You don't realize you're actually shutting down your own immune system. That's the job of stress hormones. So, and the world is in so much stress. And this is why the healthcare crisis we have, it's not because we're frail human beings at all. It's just that we're living in a time of stress. And people don't understand what's going on. I've been seeing it unfold because it's an evolution change, and we're moving into another civilization. And those that are ready to let go of the old one are those that are going to make it into the next civilization, because the old one is collapsing. And I don't want people to be afraid, because there's a better one being formed. And that's what we're getting into, a better world. And this, for example, is the kind of information that Dana and Krisanna have been offering in their video. We're beginning to see a lot of people speak up and talk about how powerful we really can be. And I have to just acknowledge this, because I used to be a professor in a medical school and programmed medical doctors to believe that genes control life. That was way back then. And although many people still think that genes control life, they turn on and off, this is 100% false. Genes control nothing. Genes are blueprints, just like a blueprint from a house. The mind is the architect. that controls your genes. And we didn't know that. And our belief system made us look like victims. And if we believe we're victims, since it's basically the mind saying, I'm a victim, then we become victims. And this is the wake-up call. And this is why Love Heals, the video, is so important for people this day, is because it gives an opportunity to say, I have power. And this is why I'm so excited to be here, because in a world where everyone thinks, oh my God, it's all falling apart and they just feel so lost, the hardest thing to get people to understand is, no, you are very powerful creators. Just unfortunately, we're creating other people's programs at this time, because if you take back your power, like in the movie Love Heals, take your power back, you can heal yourself. And I know I keep going on and on. I just want to make it maybe very, very quick, short thing about this is most people are familiar with something called the placebo effect. And I go, what's that? And I go, someone's sick, and then the doctor offers a new drug and say, oh my God, this is the greatest new pill. This is the one that's going to heal you. The person is so excited because they say, oh, finally, I got this pill. They take the pill, they get better. And then we find out it was a sugar pill. This is a very important understanding, and it's left out of medical school. I mean, God, maybe they put 2 hours in the whole curriculum for medical school to talk about this. I say, this is one of the most important facts in the entire world, is because what healed those people? It was the belief in the pill. It wasn't the pill, that was a sugar pill. It was belief that created healing. And so really, this is an example of positive aspects of positive thinking about your life. And just to close, it's very important to recognize this. Positive thinking is the power behind the placebo. You can heal yourself with positive healing. But the problem is negative thinking is equally powerful, but works in the opposite direction. It's the negative thinking that is causing the healthcare crisis on the planet. It's negative thinking. It's equally power to positive thinking, but it works toward the other way. You can get any disease. You can even just die with a belief about that disease or about that impending death. And so, if they would give me 100 more hours, I would love to keep going. But this is a real situation. So I really want to talk to all of you out there. You're facing a world that is stressing you. And the only way out of this is we have to let go of the stress and take our power back, because stress is what undermines us. And that's responsible for 90% of the illness on this planet. So I hope we can take that step. And with Love Heals, that's a big step to get into the world. And so I'm so happy and appreciative to be here with my crew back over there, Dana and Krisanna and Carrie. Thank you very much. And Nate back there too. I see him. All right.
Thank you, Bruce. It's amazing. So thank you for that. And that's definitely what, we really wanted to dive in a little bit more about. And again, we really want to encourage you guys. I know as much as we're enjoying Bruce sharing, we want you to feel engaged and ask questions as they come up, and we're going to raise them up to Bruce. Belief systems. We wanted to talk a little bit about belief systems, and you're tapping into that, Bruce. And there's a short movie clip that we wanted to share here from the film. So Nate, can you roll that for a second?
Say, I love myself.
I love myself.
Ready?
Ready. Oh, but I feel like I do.
That's conscious mind.
Okay.
That's conscious mind. 80 to 90%, 9 out of 10 people will not test positive to I love myself. Well, that's one of the biggest problems right there. People don't love themselves. Love is growth. Fear is protection. You can't be in both at the same time. So what's the point? It's like, you want to live, wake up and love.
Love is really healing.
It totally is, but love has to be love first for you.
It's incredible. So what I wanted to ask as a question around belief systems, Bruce, what does it mean to heal yourself? First, you have to heal your beliefs. So what does that mean from your path?
Well, it's the idea of living in a world that you perceive to be wonderful and beautiful and happy, a garden that we came from and all that kind of stuff like that. And I say, when we're in that world, the biology is so in harmony with life that you just have, you can feel the joy. There's the feelings that we really have trouble getting in touch with because of all the pressures and stresses of survival kinds of things, like, will I have a job? Will there be money? Oh my God, all kinds of stuff like this. We let go of really the joy of being on this planet, because we're so in that fear. And as the little clip said, growth and protection, you can't be in both at the same time. Growth is being open to take things in. Protection is being closed to wall things off. You can't be open and closed at the same time. And the world, we have such a state of impending fear. And there's a reason for it, because civilization is unsustainable. Sorry, that's the fact. And we're going through a process that says either we learn to become more in harmony, and this is why the Love Heals film is so important. Harmony is with yourself and with a community of people, because the evolution is not the evolution of individuals. The evolution we're facing is the evolution of community, where we all start to recognize each one of us as a cell in the body of something bigger called humanity. So just like we have 50 trillion cells making a human, we have 8 billion humans making another organism, and that's coming together. And that's our future. It's beautiful. It is wonderful, because I've been there a little bit myself, because I came out of the old world of the old beliefs of limitation and victimization, especially about genes controlling us. When we start to recognize we in our mind control the genes, and that means we control our health and our behavior. And when you start really understand this, you get separated from all the craziness that's around here, because you start to recognize you are a creator. And when you start to live that life, you wake up every day in harmony, no matter what's going on in the world. And it really is important for us to get to this understanding, because the limitations, and I really have to make this short because I know this is not a 10-hour production here. The limitations, I'll tell you exactly what they are, and then we can go. And I say, what is it? And I say, we have two minds. The conscious mind connected to your spirituality is creative. The subconscious mind, which is like a hard drive in a computer, it's just got programs in it. Most of the programs that we got when we grew up were disempowering. And as a result, our subconscious, when it's operating, is not really supporting us. And guess what? Science has recognized that 95% of our life is coming from the programs of the subconscious, most of which are disempowering and self-sabotaging. When we wake up to this, truth, there's an opportunity to change that relationship, start living with the conscious mind, and start rewriting the programs in the subconscious mind. Healing and love is really about starting to live in your conscious mind, because that's who you are, the spirit with wishes and desires. We get confused because we're operating 95% from the programs that we got in the first 7 years. And they're not even our programs. They came from other people. So this is the wake-up call. Any kind of information that we can use to wake up at this moment is most important, because I need all of you to understand, if you're struggling, it's not because the universe doesn't want you to have things. If we're struggling, it's our own limitations in our unconscious, subconscious mind that you're not aware of it. It's just operating mindlessly 95% of the time. So I just want to leave that kind of message to recognize also that in Love Heals, for example, it becomes very important to recognize if you want to heal yourself, it's really a mind change, not a body change. Everyone thinks, oh, give me surgery, give me drugs. I go, no, it has nothing to do with that at all. You don't even need that stuff. It's mind that we need to work with.
Yeah, I love that. I had heard someone say the other day that when you create flexibility in the mind, you eventually create flexibility in the body. And so the intuition that exists there. Dana, just to personalize this a little bit more to the story, what does healing mean to you now?
Oh
what
my
does it
gosh.
mean? Share with us, because I'm sure we're going to have people watching this that are in a different part of their pain body journey, and we really want to inspire people.
Yeah, thank you for that question. And thank you, Bruce, for your sharing. It's always amazing to hear it again and get that refresh, because it's easy to get back into the swing of life and forget these things. So thank you for that wisdom. Carrie, healing to me was very different not that long ago. Healing to me meant getting out of pain. It meant not feeling ill, just being in the best physical, mental, emotional condition that I could be. And boy, was I on the wrong track. I mean, when we first started Love Heals, I told Krisanna, oh my gosh, I have to get out of pain for this film to have a great ending. Like, talk about pressure. And little did I know that healing was nothing like that. So my complete definition of healing has changed. Healing for me is now this life journey of, gosh, talk about harmony with self, like Bruce said, feeling safe within myself, letting go of being in this state of fight or flight for all these years of my life, from a buildup of trauma and hurts, and releasing all of that, going within and recognizing like who I am at the soul level core, who my authentic and true self really is, and connecting to the deepest level there. You see, before pain, I didn't do that. I was just going through life thinking everything was fine. And so pain and all of that to me now was the wake-up call that I needed to go back inside. So it wasn't, the pain wasn't the curse. It was actually a friend to me. And I can see that now in retrospect. So healing is just that journey inward. It's the most important one that we will literally ever take. And it's being within that harmony of self. So I'm so grateful.
Thank you for that. Krisanna, you were watching all of this happen through the lens. And then you had, there's this beautiful moment in the film where you share what it was like to witness when the group was together going through that week-long course. What was it like for you to see that? And what is your definition now of healing? What does it mean to you?
Thank you for that question. It is hard. It is hard to put words. I'm like trying to feel back to what that was like, because I think what happened in that moment, and I tried to put into words as I was editing the film, was I thought I was an observer of this experience. And even with Dana's journey, I was trying to be supportive. Of course, it was my own wrestling in really trying to accept what she was going through. But yeah, I mean, even in the filming process, especially after the retreat, I just stood in this circle of 18, plus people and started crying, because I recognized that the whole week I had been healing as I documented it. And it made me theorize that maybe it's not possible to heal alone. Like maybe healing is contagious. And as we do our inner work, it ripples out inevitably and like compounds as you heal with other people who are doing that work together. So yeah, I mean, I was totally forever changed, and I am a different person today than I was a couple of years ago. And then as far as my definition of healing, I actually think I would wrap it up into 3 words, 2 of which came from editing the film, which was quite a process, and then 1 after. So the first 2 would be surrender. It's just surrender and acceptance. Like I think O says in the film, it's accepting everything. Healing is accepting everything as it is. And that has been my greatest work and still is quite a challenge for me. And then I think the third piece of that is sovereignty. So in this journey, I found that especially when Dana and I were so desperate, and I was probably more desperate to see her or in hoping that she would get out of pain, we would give our power away to people, to practitioners, to energy healers, to whatever you want to say, like doctors. And I think the most incredible part of this journey has been taking our power back and knowing like we are our own best healer. We are our own best doctor. Of course, we can come alongside those who are experts, and that's really powerful. But yeah, we have to remember that. So even if I will proactively say this, we'll probably get some questions around people who might have specific conditions and that sort of thing. Dana and I both feel strongly we're always going to come back to you are the answer. And of course, there's so many different people you can work with, so many different modalities, but I think healing is such a personal journey. And so that's what it is. That's what's true for me today. And still, every time we are in creation together, or even Dana's still got some lingering stuff. And it's like, okay, how do I accept this? How do I surrender? And how do I just continue to maintain the sovereignty? And knowing Dana has her own sovereignty. It's actually not my job to fix her. She's the one that's on her own journey. And I just get to be a loving and supportive observer, companion, you know, in any way that I can help, but it's not, I can't control it. I actually have my own healing inner work to do as well.
That's so powerful. I so respect that. And my journey this year that brought me to Sedona, again, I want to inspire people to think about things differently. Bruce, I've probably been reading your books for 10, 15 years. My aunt was the first to inspire me to read about you and Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza. And it just became this path that I just followed down and was reading. I wouldn't say that in all aspects at that time I was totally conscious, but it was this past year in a life event, a couple of life events and some loss in my family, I made a decision to start going to in-person events like this. And it brought me to the Sedona event. So thank you for that event, what you guys brought together. It was Greg Braden, not Greg Norman. Oops, not golf. Greg Braden, Anita Morjani, Dr. Shamini, Jane, and Bruce that brought me to this path. And so I just really want to inspire you guys. Think about these events differently. They're real game changers. But in that moment, you know, Anita has been a very big advocate of Love Heals and of Dana and Krisanna. And if you don't know Anita wrote the book, the author, Dying to Be Me, while Wayne Dyer was still physically with us. She toured with him, and she has an incredible story of what she learned in a medical situation where she was in a coma and the things that came forward. And these are just such powerful experiences that we have in our own lives and as caregivers. To that point, Anita reached out yesterday to her community, and we were flooded with a lot of notes and people watching the movie. And I want to quote one of them. This is coming from Pune, India. She says, this is a doctor. I want to thank you for taking this initiative to open up with direct healing through love. So simple, yet so powerful. I firmly believe that love heals in life and afterlife too. The healing continues on the other side. Can't we hear Anita saying, woohoo? I would like to connect with you all on this noble cause. And that's what I think is so compelling, is the number of physicians, scientists, and doctors and therapists and practitioners that were behind this movie, in this movie. One other quick quote we want to honor that came out. Thank you for creating a beautiful film about real people and the power of love that is within us all. I am an energy conscious based practitioner, and I've witnessed many people healing. And yet I love, and I am in delightful wonderment to see people finding themselves, healing, and most of all, falling in love with themselves. They come home to their heart. Thank you. Beautiful. I have shared this film with all that I know. Love to the team. I just think that's remarkable. So again, Dana, Krisanna, this is you sponsoring this. Thank you so much. I want to shift here real quickly. I see even in the audience, we have Dr. Erica Crawford. It was really compelling, Erica, meeting you. Thank you so much. You know, what a compelling experience. And Krisanna, I'm going to flip this back to you just for a minute. What did it mean for you to have someone who has a PhD in research not only be behind the scenes supporting how you were documenting and creating the film, but she actually, if you guys have seen the movie, she participated in the week-long experience and this modality of healing. Krisanna, what was it like for you to bring forward documented research like this?
It was truly incredible. I mean, I felt a little bit out of my wheelhouse in trying to put words around this. And we even we even thought about like, maybe we would test everyone's blood and maybe we would like analyze all this data about them, and ended up with Dr. Crawford's guidance, really just focusing more on what was tangible, like what they would share, as opposed to, and there's like legal stuff around that. But all that to say, Dr. Crawford is not only an incredibly intelligent, gifted human, but she's become one of our closest friends. And just to give you a quick perspective, she did her dissertation on stress in the workplace, and she was curious how practices like meditation, Tai Chi, Qigong, breathwork, how they impact people in the workplace. And, of course, with the brain education umbrella that we talk about in the film. So yeah, she would stay on the phone with me for hours as I had like papers and flow charts. And I was really trying to figure out, how do I take something that's super complex and make it really simple? And she was a behind the scenes force, really helping me distill it down to its core message, because I had so many hours of experts and so many hours of content from people. But what is the core message? Of course, it's love, but how do I, speak to that without, while staying true to each person's authentic journey? So yeah, I can't thank Erica enough. And it really made me feel like I had an extra level of support and a person to bounce things off of. She would even give me feedback on some of the experts' content that I edited together, like, okay, are we sure that was what was true to what they intended to say? Because you know how it goes with editing. You can kind of create your own narrative if you want to. So yeah, she really helped me like stay the course and make sure that we were honoring each person, honoring their own perspective, and then creating a film that would really not preach at people, but would speak to them as in a way of options. These are just ideas, and then you decide what you want to do with that. So yeah, thank you, Erica.
Thank you so much. We're going to flip now to the questions that are coming in from the Zoom room. So thank you guys. We love this. We'll start with Mary from Delray Beach. Mary Vasan, thank you so much. Love you, sister. Her question has to do with how the 18 people that went to the healing retreat, how are they doing now? Do you have any kind of information you can share? She'd love to cite the results and her coaching hypnosis clients. If it's all belief, can we ignore biology? For instance, can we eat junk food and not have inflammation if we believe our body can process it? So maybe we start first with Dana or Krisanna about the group and what's going on. And then I don't know, Bruce, you might want to take the back end of that question.
Great. I can start. Krisanna, if you have anything to chime in, by all means, please do, but I'll keep it brief. So the 18 people, we followed all of them for 21 days. Those that were willing to share how they were doing post-retreat all had really remarkable things to say. And it's because we gave them, I don't want to call it homework, but we gave them a way to keep going on the journey and things to reference. And so some people ended up taking it to the nth degree. I mean, we have a woman that was from one of the tribal lands here in Arizona come have such a remarkable physical healing experience and probably holistic healing experience that she actually took it back to her tribe and has been going back to learn more about how to teach these things and teach people to take that journey for themselves. So we have instances of someone like that. And then we have others who have slipped back in ways that their old programming, as Bruce would say, kicked right back in because they didn't continue the journey. They stopped doing some of those daily practices. They allowed the program just to take back over. So it's been a while now. We don't have information on all of the 18 people. Not everybody kept in touch with us, but we have a select few who have and continue to experience really great things in their transformation, and others that struggle. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily want to provide that information to cite it anywhere, but yeah, it was really fascinating. But it all depended on each person individually and how they moved forward after that event.
Yeah, and I'll just add, it's interesting being a documentary filmmaker because we're talking about people's sacred healing journeys. And to me, it's not helpful to have this like good, bad, right or wrong, or like you're doing a good job, you're not doing a good job. Healing goes like this, right? So they made an intentional decision. Their life was forever changed. and they're not going to go back from that. Now, do we sometimes go back to some old patterns or whatever? Sure, but that's just part of life. So I think everyone walked away differently, and we certainly wanted, it was really important to me to honor the sacredness of that experience and only use as much as was needed to help, you know, the masses see what is possible. But in terms of like checking in, we haven't done that. And I think that's good. I think they get to just decide where they go from here with the seeds that were planted.
Wonderful. Bruce, any thoughts about, you know, belief versus biology? You know, how can the mind versus the body?
Well, one of the most important things we have to understand is, as Dana just tried to tell us, some people go back after working on themselves and getting someplace, and they go back to their environment, and then they revert right back to where they were. Very interesting story about that, because a friend of mine was doing a program called Raw for 30 days for diabetics, insulin-dependent diabetics, and he said that in 30 days, if he stuck with them and they ate a raw food diet for 30 days, they would be insulin and diabetic free. And all of them were. Well, it was amazing. And then I asked them a question. I said, well, what happened after they left this retreat where you were doing all this and they went back to their home? And most of them reverted right back to being diabetic again, because they came into an energy field where they were diabetic because the field around them was, you know, pushing them in that direction. They left the field, did the study outside, and were free of the field and healed themselves, but came back to the same energy field that they lived in and reverted right back. So we have to recognize that our consciousness is influenced by where we live and who we live among and the people around us and your community and all of that. And this is why it's so important to really look for the kind of people that you want to be around, that share your beliefs and your insights and your ideas, because when you make a community of these people, you're enhancing the energy field. Of course, this is a physics story for a moment. We're all radiating energy, and the idea is when you start to be part of a community where you're all radiating the same type of energy because of the same sharing of beliefs and desires and all that, you empower that to become real. And that becomes important. And your beliefs are profoundly important about shaping the whole thing. Very quick thing about the digestion issue, because that came up, and it's important for a lot of people to understand this. Maureen, who is out there, wrote to me and on the chat and said, yeah, she remembers. Here's the story. It's very simple. The digestive tract from the mouth to the anus is a pipe. Really, if you dissect it out, you could stretch it out, all the intestines and everything, and then you could see from one end down to the other end. It's a pipe. So when you eat food, it's not in your body, it's in this pipe. It's called the digestive tract. And I go, so what's relevant? And I go, the body will remove from the digestive tract the building blocks necessary to create the life that you are manifesting. If you are not in harmony with life, then you'll pull out stuff that is not really going to support your health, and you will have a health problem. If you're in harmony, you can eat almost anything and nothing will bother you. And because it's really an understanding that once you eat the food, it's not in your body. It has to be transported across the pipe to get into your body. And the transport is selective. And it comes down to simply this. And this is a very important point. The more conscious you are, the less you have to be concerned about environmental influences, because the more conscious you are, the more you're going to create this. You can be so conscious about this. And I show this in some of my lectures and some of my newsletters. Some people can work themselves up to a religious ecstasy state, like in the South, and they get all worked up and they get into this religious state and ecstasy, and they do something called testify, which means they do something no normal person in their right mind would do to show that God protects them. They drink strychnine poison in toxic doses and have no adverse effects. Now, do not do this unless you are like they are, in 100% belief that God is taking care of you, which means you're going to take care of yourself. Because the simple reality is this: the level of consciousness determines how protected you are. You become fully conscious, It makes no difference if you eat or don't eat, even it comes down to something like that. It's very hard for people to understand, but we have to recognize in our current consciousness and the stresses that we're living in, the food becomes very important because the food is going to create the growth medium for your cells. And when I worked in the lab and cloned cells, I can assure you, if I put anything less than the best nutrients into that culture dish, the cells don't do very well at all. They start to get sick. And why this is important is because the food you are eating is going to make culture medium for your 50 trillion cells. And the important part about it is this, really try to eat natural, organic, healthy food, because industrial farm food is really kind of toxic with lots of sprays and things like that. But if you get fully conscious, and I'm working on it, when you get fully conscious, you could drink the strychnine and have no problem. You could eat anything and have no problem. And the idea is your consciousness will override everything. But no, all of us are not there. I'm not there. I'm still working on it, but I'm getting closer.
Wonderful. So Bruce, I'm going to ask you another question. For those who are early in the journey and they want to start a healing path, is there a workbook, an app? Is there anything you suggest? How should they start? And they're thinking about how they start at home with self. How do you feel about that as a
Well, I
question?
think the most important thing is this is the first step, because intentions are really great. And then we're going to do this, but then we never do it. And the idea is we have to start making that effort to take care of ourselves. I have to do it myself, I many years didn't even care what was going into my life until I started to realize, oh my goodness, I've got to create a different reality. And through consciousness have left the old world. I live in a state of heaven on earth. I have a honeymoon experience for 28 years here. Why? I had to change my belief systems. It's the belief systems that we need to work with. Really, basically, everyone wants to fix the body. I say, I don't care about fixing the body until first you fix the belief system. Because when the belief system is fixed, you don't need drugs and things like that. The point about it is simply this, ready? If a pharmaceutical drug works, it works because you have a receptor, protein receptor on a cell that will respond to that drug. And I go, oh, so the cells have the receptors for this drug. And I go, they didn't have the receptors waiting for the drug. They have the receptors because you already make that chemical compound that the drug is trying to replace. We make all of the chemistry, but it's only made based on the picture you're trying to create in your consciousness. And this is, again, why all the outside help we can get to help us, to teach us, to show us again and again and again, we have to make a commitment and an intention. And love heals is talk about commitment and intention. Krisanna, carried the damn camera around for years with great intentions. And I'm so glad she did, because she didn't think about doing the video. She did the video. And this is what we need to do. We have to say, am I going to commit to changing my life? And they go, yeah, tomorrow. But no. This is the whole issue. And I have a website just to make it a lot easier right now, brucelipton.com. Very simple, brucelipton.com. Everything we're talking about here is on there, downloadable as articles, videos, interviews, all kinds of things. It's all free. So if you're looking for some information, that's a good clearinghouse to find a lot of information about beliefs and how to change beliefs and how to live a wonderful, harmonious life.
Thank you, Bruce. We have another question, Arzena from Texas. Does belief affect healing at the skeletal level? And how does it compare to cellular level? For you, Bruce?
Oh, is that for me?
Yes.
I was waiting for Dana to answer that one. I was thinking, well, that's an interesting question for Dana. I'm waiting to see what she was going to say about that. Listen.
I think we need a PhD to answer that one.
Basically this, let me give you just a straightforward fact, and this is a fact of science, and so it's not even something open for argument because it's a fact. And this is from quantum physics, and quantum physics is the most valid of all the sciences on this planet. with the knowledge that we have of the field of quantum physics. Let me, why is I'm bringing this up? Principle number one, quantum physics. Consciousness is creating our life experiences. And I go, why is that relevant? Whether it's a skeletal system, whether it's the cells, whether it's the body, whether it's the world you're living in, all of this is consciousness. It's very hard for us to get there because we're so living in the material world, which is the illusion that is very difficult for people to carry home. I talk about quantum physics to people. I tell them about how everything is energy, and the you know it sounds good academically. Yes, I got you, Bruce. It makes a lot of sense. And then they walk out of the room, and then you're back into the world of materiality. And I go, it's a very difficult step. You have to let go of the vision of everything being matter, recognizing everything is energy. Consciousness is energy, and the consciousness is the energy that shapes the character of our biology, and the character of our lives, and the character of the world in which we live. And having no awareness for most people of this, because we always think we're being conscious, not recognizing. No, only about 5% of the day are you using the conscious mind, which is the wishes and desires that can heal anything, can create anything. But it for most people, although it's on a piece of paper, it's theoretical. I go, no, this is not theoretical, folks. This is the real science of it. It's a consciousness energy field that shapes the biology, the genes, every part of the system, as well as your life experiences. And this is a fact of quantum physics, the principle number one, and what epigenetics is all about, the new science. Epigenetics is the mind is controlling your genetic activity. And all of a sudden you start to see, oh my goodness, we never really gave the power back to where it all comes from, spirit and mind, right up there.
Love that. I love this topic. If someone has one more question that kind of taps into that, Bruce, if it's our belief that heals, this is from Arlene. Thank you, Arlene. And our belief wavers between living from our conscious mind, I believe I can heal, and our subconscious mind, no, I can't. How much does my conscious belief offset the programming? I'd love to believe unwaveringly.
Yeah. Quite unfortunately, we all have great wishes and desires that our conscious mind is someday going to, tell the subconscious what we want. And sometimes we talk to ourselves and say, okay, come on, don't do this, do that, don't do this. And then I joke and I say, well, who are you talking to? He said, well, I'm talking to my subconscious. And I go, there's nobody in the subconscious. It's the hard drive, just like on the computer, meaning you can talk to your computer until you're blue in the face. It's not going to change. You actually have to do like on a computer, push the record, and then you have access to it. And this is why it's so frustrating, because a lot of people keep thinking, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to do the right thing. I said, but when you say this, there's nobody in the subconscious exists. It's just a machine. It's a hard drive. And this makes a failure, and it makes it really frustrating, because we all want to keep telling ourselves, oh gosh, don't do that. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. And you find yourself, you're repeating it. And I go, why? Because it's a subconscious program, and there's nobody in there that's paying attention to you until you record the program. And I say this from all personal reality that, yeah, I had to go through my programming, which wasn't that great, to create the life I have. I'm happy. I'm nearly 80. I'm enjoying everything every day. I love my life. I have a great, I live the honeymoon. This was not my life. This was a change when I understood the nature of the biology, the cells, but more importantly, the consciousness and the programming. You're all powerful people, but if the subconscious is running it, you're just standing in the shadows. Take conscious mind. This is why when people fall in love, they have a honeymoon, because no matter how life was blah, 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 the moment they fall in love, guess what? Their life changes, heaven on earth. I go, what happened? Here's it is. When you fall in love, you stop thinking. When you stop thinking, then the conscious mind is in charge 90% of the time. When you're thinking, the subconscious mind's in charge. And 95% of our day is thinking. So we're not living our lives, we're living our programs. And yet, when you understand this, you are so powerful. Every one of you out there, God, I just, I wish, because there's this beautiful world that's right here in the same world that you're living in. As long as you're not focusing on that other world, you can have this other world. So I want this for all of you so much. And any help that you can get. And this is why I'm here, because Love Heals is an important insight, a help. Why? We need to take the steps. And when it happens, you are powerful. You are the creator. And yet we struggle with the old programs. And I wish I could just go, and it's gone. But no, we actually have to do something.
Yeah, so true. So one more question here, Bruce.
Yeah.
And I think this question is asking about how our belief systems can impact another person. We have Alicia. She said, I recently had my first child and he was born with a disease with his ganglion cells did not grow all the way, so he cannot pass stool on his own. We are told his only option is surgery to remove the part of his intestine where the ganglion cells are not fully active. I am wondering if through changing my belief on his ability to heal, do you think it's possible for us to program the ability to heal himself and reactivate his ganglion cells before surgery?
It's very critical. If the child is especially under 7 years of age, it's very critical that the parents have to have thoughts that are the highly supportive, recognizing, empowering thoughts that my child can heal themselves. If you have doubt as a parent, and unfortunately, your child knows that doubt because it's operating, and they read your energy fields just like a pet reads the energy field of the owner. They know what's going on, whether it's positive or negative. An infant, just born, will start to read these fields. And if you're a parent and you want to help your child, you have to carry the strong belief. Don't let your subconscious programs override that, because again, those programs in your subconscious came from your family and was passed down. Whatever the beliefs they had, that's your subconscious program. That's not you. And so it's important for parents to surround their children with people who believe the power of positive healing and the power of positive consciousness. Because if you surround them with other people who are skeptics or doctors that are saying, oh, no, there's no hope, the child picks that up. So it's important that as a parent, you have to recognize, especially under 7 years old, you are the great influence of your child just through your thinking process, because the child has to depend on that energy to know if it's safe or not, and it tunes into your frequency. So if you want to help your child, you've got to be 100% sure that you are very positive about what you're broadcasting and not let subconscious programs, unfortunately, interfere with that process.
I think she shared he's 7 weeks old, Bruce.
Oh,
So.
you got great time. And the idea is this. Here's where I'll give you very quickly what the story is, that you got a prognosis. The prognosis is, oh, we got to do the surgery. And I go, the prognosis is actually, it's like voodoo. What does it mean? I go, if you're like most people, most of us, when we grew up with doctors in the first 7 years. When we weren't well, we go to the doctor. Mommy goes, daddy goes, I go, we're not well. I said, what was the learning? Because that's programming. The learning, and this is critical for all of us, the learning in that first 7 years, if your family was conventional, is that when it comes to health, you are not responsible for it. It's the doctor who will tell you the truth, and then you will buy the truth of the doctor and then manifest it. And this is the biggest problem in the world, because most of us have been programmed to not trust us about our health, but to trust the professional, because that's how we got programmed. And if the professional, it's placebo, nocebo. If the professional gives you, yeah, this is great, you're going to get healed, then that's wonderful if you're programmed that way. But if you've been programmed that the truth of it comes from the professional, and the professional gives you a negative belief, then you will manifest that as well. That's called the nocebo effect. And this is very critical. It's because, yeah, your conscious wishes and desires are great. I want to heal my kid. I want to have the world healed, blah, blah, blah. I go, yeah, does your subconscious support that? And I go, if it doesn't, you're handicapped, and we need to change that.
Thank you. Thank you. Dana, we're going to flip here. Just to another question. There's someone asking, because in the movie, it shows the path and how you and Krisanna, you leveraged beautiful Sedona, and that there's healers and modalities that are there. And this person is wondering, would there be a benefit to connect all the options in a central place? Is it better left for the individual to be self-guided to find the right one, just as this beautiful couple has done? So perhaps you can share your path of the different things that you tried out, and what would be your advice to Diane?
Yeah, Diane, thank you for the question. And I know there's a similar question asking Bruce, like what his favorite tool is. So maybe he can tell us, but for me, first of all, on the lovehealsfilm.com website, there's a resources tab, and we have a few resources from the film. Bruce has his own website and his own place to land that he already shared. So that's great too. But it's not, for me, I thought there was a silver bullet that I was missing. So I became this type A personality where I was doing all of the healing things every day. I was doing my expressive writing journaling. I was doing a meditation. I was doing Tai Chi and Qigong and breath work. And it was like, all that did was make my system, my body feel like, oh yes, we're in hypervigilance. Something is wrong with us. We're trying to fix us. And the thing was, I really needed to let that go. My mindset was the thing that was holding me back. My beliefs, for sure. I have a lot of programming. I have a lot of this in my family. My dad still suffers with chronic pain and has watched Love Heals and goes to get his injections and talks to surgeons. And I'm like, that's how I was brought up. And so for me, I think I will just say that personally, the most beneficial things that I can do are slow down, get into nature. And I do like mindful movement meditations. I do love Qigong. I'm actually just kind of checking in. I think we all need to check in with ourselves every day because it might even change, right? So that's my suggestion, is to really go inside and figure out what your body needs that day, what your mind, what your heart, your soul. And some days after I figured this out was like, oh, today I need nothing. Today I actually need to rest. I don't need any of these things to fix myself. So yeah, for me, it was a huge mindset shift.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much, because we wanted to make sure we touched upon habits, because habits are really what align to our beliefs. And so what we do every day comprises who we are. And so Dana, when you think about your habits before and after, what do you think is the number one biggest difference, and how you see your habits to your life?
Well, I think now I'm just a friend to myself. I would get down on myself if I didn't do all of these things long enough, well enough, if I forgot, if I let other things get in the way. So, from the before of this hypervigilant checklist of things I needed to do to quote unquote heal myself, to just relaxing all of that and feeling safe within my body and having a belief system that I have today and a mindset that I have today, that was more important than anything else. So no comparison.
Thank you. Thank you. One last question from the audience, Pauline. Bruce, she's talking about, I've been healing from Lyme disease since 2016. I've been working on a well-being body, mind, and soul for years now, but I'm sure I am missing something to strengthen my mind, strong body. What steps can I take to implement new mindsets and beliefs?
I think one of the most important things we have to understand is that, yes, we have great wishes and desires with the conscious mind, and all the things you're going to make efforts to do. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do all that and all that. I go, that's really great. The most important insight is whether the subconscious supports this or not. Because if the subconscious doesn't support this, then we go through a lot of work and it doesn't change anything, because the subconscious is the primary driver of the system. And the conscious is a separate entity. Now, the conscious is creative. The subconscious is just habits in there. And the creative mind has, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. And I'm going to do this. I got great. And I go, if you stop thinking, then you are actually living from that creative mind. But it's very difficult to do in our world. You can do it for a short period of time. The honeymoon is a good part where you all of a sudden you stop thinking because you kept your mind present and you were in full control, and you changed your whole life because we went blah, blah, blah. And 24 hours later, it was heaven on earth. I say, how did that change occur? And the answer is you stop defaulting to that subconscious. You have two choices: stay mindful, very difficult in this very busy world, or change the programs that you have. And just to help very quickly, how do I know what my programs are? Because you were being programmed before you were even born, last trimester of pregnancy, all the way through age 7. And I go, you don't know what your programs are, especially the fundamental ones, the ones that you got from before you were born, from 0 to 1. You weren't there. From 1 to 2, you weren't there. From 2 to 3, you were probably just beginning to become more aware. But the fact is, so what are your programs? And here, just very quickly, the things that you like that come into your life, no problem. They come into your life. They come in because you have programs to support those things. In contrast, and this is one I want people to understand, anything you work hard at, struggle over, sweat over, put a lot of effort into it. I'm working hard. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do this. Why are you working so hard? And inevitably the answer is, whatever that destination you're working hard to get to, apparently your subconscious doesn't support it. And you are trying to override your subconscious with effort. I go, it's a good idea, but it doesn't necessarily work. And so the idea is, look at your life right now and you'll tell you what your programs are. The things that come easy, they come easy because programs allow them. The things that you struggle over, subconscious is not really supporting that outcome. And now you know where you look for, what programs do you want to change by looking at it that way.
Incredible. Thank you guys. So let's flip here. Let's talk about what you guys are up to next. I think there's some stuff going on between Dana, Krisanna, and Bruce. And I think, Bruce, you've got something coming up here where perhaps the film might be shown again. Dana, Krisanna, your movie is moving to PBS. Let's just take a minute. Bruce, we'll start with you. What's keeping you busy? Where are you going tomorrow? You're getting on an airplane. Tell us.
Tomorrow, San Diego. And it's going to be wonderful with a group of people like my brother Greg, and I think Nita will be there, and there's a bunch of wonderful friends of mine who are on a different trail, the ones that I love working with. And then I'm off to Gaia in Colorado to film with Greg Braden a new series on resiliency, which has a lot to do with healing and taking care of yourself and empowering yourself. And I should probably just make a piece of that whole presentation and give it to Dana and Krisanna and let them fill in a video so I don't even have to talk about it. But I guess I'll talk about it. But it's all about resiliency, how powerful we really are. And that's, God, if the world would be so beautiful if we could just get off of the programs, especially all the ads on TV that tell you need a drug every 15 minutes. It's like, okay, we need to go beyond that stuff right now.
That's amazing. Dana, Krisanna, what are you guys up to next?
Yeah, this is a great slide to talk about. So this is our next project, and it's really Dana's creative child, let's say. She's always been really passionate about horses, and we've discovered that there's some kind of magic to them that actually helps people in their healing journeys. So we're curious about that. And if you want to follow our journey, you can check out the website, rescuedheartsfilm.com. Also on social media, Facebook or Instagram, you can check out Live Wild Films or Rescued Hearts Film, either or both. That'd be great too. But I would love Dana to chime in too, because she's really the force behind all of this.
Yeah, well, first, I just want to touch on what we're focused on right now between today and the end of the week on Sunday. We are, if you haven't seen Love Heals Film, please go to our website, lovehealsfilm.com, if you want to check it out and continue to learn from other experts and watch people's transformational healing journeys. It's really, really beautiful. And so the other thing we're looking for are people that are interested in sponsoring a screening. So if you love the film and you have even just 50 people that you think would enjoy it, we can work with you. So I have so many email addresses. Dana@livewildfilms.com is the one that you can use to get in touch with me directly. And we can work something out with that. So basically, we just want to have as many screenings as we can to spread hope and healing to the world. And then come May, we should be on PBS, and people that watch TV still and PBS stations will be able to access our film depending on when they broadcast it. So yeah, we're just going to spend this year spreading the film as much as we can while we are in production of our new film. So I had a very deep, beautiful experience witnessing. I was doing an equine therapy type session where I was a horse leader, and this 7-year-old autistic child that had never spoke a single word in his life started speaking on the back of a horse. And so I started to wonder, what kind of miracle was that? And nowadays, HeartMath is bringing forth the science to talk about heart coherence and how important that is to give our bodies a state of rest and repair, and brings out some really incredible healing aspects for people in all walks of life. So Rescued Hearts Film is the other one we'd love for people to follow on social media or anywhere. So yeah, those are our projects, and we're really excited.
And I'll just quickly add, I know Dana said, for those who still watch TV, PBS said a minimum of 2 million people will see Love Heals. So that is like a miracle in and of itself, but it could be many more than that. And so we're grateful because we know that's going to help this message really get into the homes of a lot of people who probably won't go to conferences or won't go to retreats, but at least this can plant the seed, and then maybe they'll open up and consider it. So it's really, really great. And this weekend we're hanging out with Bruce. We're actually going to the conference that Bruce is going to be at. So yeah, Bruce is pretty remarkable, and we just kind of follow him around wherever we can attend his events.
That's fantastic. Okay, one last amazing question for the Mr. Amazing Bruce. We have practitioners and physicians who've been on this call, the Zoom rather. We know people will be listening in the future. So Bruce, if you could give any advice for anyone who is stepping into this field of work, what would be your advice to them?
I think we really should start to focus, as quantum physics would have us do, is focus on the consciousness and the mind. Medical school, as I taught in, is so preoccupied with the physical character of things and all the different enzymes and drugs and blah, blah, blah. And to me, that's all below the neck stuff. That it all actually starts up here, and it's all controlled up here, whether it's epigenetics or whether it's quantum physics telling us that. And this is why it's so important for us to stop focusing so much on trying to take the body apart and start recognizing the control started way up here. Anything down here was really an alteration of the consciousness. So healing has to go back to the very old days where we did hands-on healing and energy and consciousness work. And that's the future of the new medicine. It's more than complementary. It's integrated medicine. You have to bring this in. And it hasn't been there. And I taught in medical school a number of years to see placebo effect, as I said, get not more than a couple of hours treatment in a whole medical education, or even talk about diet, for goodness sakes, and nutrition and all these other aspects of our health. Not really there anymore. I'm very sorry that from my perspective, the healthcare industry is actually a sickness care industry, and it's really an arm of the pharmaceutical world, unfortunately. And I would like people to divest of this, to get their recognizing that the placebo effect is a real thing. Yes, you could heal with just the thought of the healing.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Well, it's time for us to close out a little bit. I wanted to just share a couple of comments around the greater mission of Dana and Krisanna. And I really love the themes here that are about self-empowerment, about really trusting the mind-body relationship, and wherever there is disconnection, to rebuild that connection between the heart, mind, body, and soul. I just think it's such a beautiful journey. Healing isn't a passive activity. It's a hands-on daily commitment that you make to yourself. And I love the themes that have come out of this movie. I love the themes that I learned the week that I was in Sedona with you, Bruce, and with Anita, Greg, and Chamonix. And it really just came down to, how do we find love? How do we find acceptance? How do we create that forgiveness where we can shift from suffering to joy? And the key is self-healing. And we take that on as not only our own empowerment, but our absolute core ability as creators, as Bruce has shared with it. One of my favorite quotes in this movie, and I know it's right at the end of the movie, but Dana, I love the moment that's captured when you say, "I love my life, even with my pain. I love my life." And it's an incredible moment of surrender and acceptance. You embody this element we're talking about in terms of love. We often talk about unconditional love, and we think about that usually about our relationship to someone else. And I think it's so powerful when we realize unconditional love has to start with self. And I think that's one of the most impactful things this movie makes. And I'm so incredibly grateful that I went to Sedona. I followed my intuition. I followed my heart. And that we have built this relationship. If I can share my information one more time, any of you, please, if you want to do what I did, sponsor a screening, take 10 or 12 days, share it with your friends. Please do reach out and ask me. I'll give you my blueprint on what I did with Dana and Krisanna. Let's replicate this for them. If you have ideas in mind around corporate sponsors, as I mentioned, we're looking for 4. It'd be a phenomenal journey for a company that has these kind of KPIs to think in mind. Welcome your suggestions. I'm here in service of the greater work of Dana and Krisanna, and truly want to help them bring this through the balance of 2023. So just want to say thank you all. If we can bring back in the music, Higher Love. Nate, I want us to end on that incredible energy that we started at the beginning of this call. It truly was just, there we go, so remarkable. And as you guys take on for the rest of the week and this year, reach for that higher love, because love heals. Thank you, everyone.